other social workers in the room? I guess not. I like to know who I'm talking to, so can I just go around the room and give me your name and just tell me how many years, if applicable, have you been working with children? So I'll start with you.
My name is Sherelle.
Sherelle?
Yeah.
Okay.
My last name. You sure? Okay. My name is Sherelle. I've been working with kids for probably about 4 years, but then this is my first time for science just now.
Okay, great.
My name is Monique. I'm working with kids probably for 30 plus years or so.
Okay, all right, good.
My name is Natasha. I've been working with kids of all different shapes, sizes, and ages for the last 15 years.
Okay, got you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Sandrine. I've been working with kids for like 10 years.
About 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Gretchen, I've been doing the Dress for Science program for I think 2 or 3 years now. So
How long, I'm sorry?
2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years? And no experience working with kids before then?
No.
Okay,
Zandra, I've been working with kids for at least 25 years. Girls for Science, like 3 or 4.
okay. Shoot.
My name is Katie. I've also been working for Girls for Science for about 2 to 3 years. But I like grew up in a pretty large family. I was like the second oldest of 5, so always babysitting and taking care of the little ones. So.
Got you, got you.
Okay. My name is Kanan. This is my first year with Girls for Science, but third session. Like I already did twice, and this is my third time. I love Girls for Science, and also in terms of kids, I'm also a commissioner in my village of Hoffman Estates.
Okay,
Commissioner for people with disabilities, where we see disabled kids, both physical as well as mental. So I love kids, being with kids.
okay, all right, thank you.
Chuck, I think I've been doing with kids just through Girls for Science for 5-6 years, something along there.
Okay,
It's been a great experience.
got you, got you. My sister?
My name is Danielle. I've been working with kids in healthcare for about 29 years now.
Wow. Okay, all right.
My name is Desiree, and I have kids, so.
That's experience enough, right?
No, but also at the church, so I work with kids as well. So about 15 years.
About 15 years, okay.
I'm Kwaku. I've been working on and off with kids probably 4 or 5 years. Girls for Science past year.
Okay, our CEO,
Yeah, I'm Jackie Lomax, and I've been working with kids for the past 10 years.
about 10 years, okay. Sir?
Lorraine Brooks, just here with my wife, our program, but I've been working with kids for about 17 years.
17 years. And for our 2 little kids, how are you doing today? Good. Like, he put us on the spot. All right.
My name is Keith. I've been teaching and working with kids off and on for the past 22 years.
Past 22 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that information, and it's a pleasure to meet you all. And again, I thought it was important to talk to an audience who does have some familiarity with working with our babies out here. Let me tell you who I am. Again, my name is Khalid Scott. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I've been working as a social worker. This August will be 26 years. I've worked from everywhere from DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services, to now my current full-time job is a clinician and drug specialist at the Jesse Brown VA Hospital, where I work with veterans who are homeless, have mental health issues, and substance abuse issues. And then in my part-time job, I'm an in-home therapist, and I still work with DCFS babies and their families. And it's never a dull moment when you're working with babies, is it? Never a dull moment. And the thing I like about kids is that kids bring you a different energy. You know what I'm saying? As compared to adults. And when they are not around, you miss them. Like I have friends, you know, the last day of CPS was yesterday, and I talked to one of my friends this morning, and she was like, though I cannot stand the 10 months I'm in that classroom, she was like, I miss my babies this morning. I said, right, because they bring a different type of energy. And even us who are parents, how many of us are parents in a room? You know, our kids get to us sometimes, but the minute they leave us, we like, man, I miss my kid, I think, you know, because that energy, you know. The reason why I became a social worker was this. Did any of you all see the Netflix documentary by Ava DuVernay called, I think it was This Is How They See Us, or How They See Us? Okay. How many of you all saw it? Okay. It's very thought-provoking if you haven't seen it. Well, it reminded me why I became a social worker. Okay. I was at juvenile court. Have any of you all ever been at juvenile court on the west side, 1100 South Hamilton? Okay, well, it's the home of the Juvenile Detention Center, so the kid jail, or what we call the Audi home. Well, when I was about 21, 22, I was a student who had left Morehouse, and I came to finish up at Chicago State University. And a teacher who had a class that I was in called Psychology of Urban Youth, she gave us an assignment. We had to go to juvenile court and observe the court hearings. So on one side of the court building, you have delinquency, where the children who have committed crimes get tried. And then on the other side of the court building, you have the DCFS cases, okay? So I was there all day, and I was enamored. I was like, look what our babies are going through. I'm like, wow. And I'm 22, 23 years old. I've lived a bubbled life. Just got home from being at Morehouse, and before that I was in the Army. You know, and it was like, kids are out here suffering like this. And then as I was exiting the door, as I was walking out, now remind you, I'm 22 years old, young, in college, life is good. I see a Cook County sheriff with 5 black boys handcuffed. And they're going upstairs to where the detention center is, and they're handcuffed, and they have a silver chain wrapped around their waist. Danielle, what image did I see when I saw that? Slavery. Saw slavery. And that's when I went back to Chicago State and switched my major from computer science to corrections and criminal justice. Because my thing was, I'm going to make sure my babies don't have to keep suffering. And I've been doing it ever since. Then, August 21st, 2002, guess what God did for me? What did he do for me, Danielle? Anaya. This is my kid. This is the reason why I live. This is the reason why I breathe today. And this is the reason why I work so much extra harder for my kids out here. Okay? Because she got to go to school with the other bad kids. You know what I'm saying? So if I do my part and we all do our part, then that's less likely my kid gets hurt. Okay? And as an African American male who is a social worker, you know I'm not the common, correct? I am not the common. At the VA, there are only 8 African American men who have LCSWs who work in that entire hospital. Altogether, it's 160 social workers, but only 7 brothers. Okay? So, I'm necessary. Okay? Now, anytime I do a presentation, I got to make sure my baby is watching. So please excuse me. I just need her there to cheer me on. Working with girls. Okay? because that's going to be our focus right now, working with girls. It's a special population, a special delicate population, if you can imagine, okay? Let me ask you, what has been some of the challenges that you've seen, if any, in working with girls, if any?
Attitudes.
Attitudes. Tell me what you mean by that.
We're working with girls ages 10 through 18. You got the proper, the nonchalance, you got the I want to do everything, and then you got the ones that I don't want to be bothered, keep going.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
you're just trying to take all of that in and keep them entertained and engaged in what you're doing right here, right now. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was a good description. Sometimes that's a one girl, depending on the day. Okay? What else been other challenges that you all have seen?
As a man, I got challenges sometimes.
Tell me what that is.
Well, I've had girls, certain from other districts, who you can tell they don't have a male figure in their family.
Yes, sir.
And so they come and as soon as they get to where I work, they want to be with me. And I don't have a problem with that, but you can see they have the need.
Yes.
So you try to fulfill that, but then I've had other girls and just only one occasion, where you say, you're trying to educate, and she just breaks down in tears. Like, I'm trying to show you other ways to think about it, not saying your thing is wrong, and she was just emotionally she wasn't ready to be with our facility. But that's only happened once.
Yes.
But I didn't have the tools to deal with it. I worked through it, but I'm not trained to deal with those issues.
Got you. And I can imagine what kind of challenge that is. I'm trained to do it, and it's rough for me. Okay? Folks, how many of you all had to take a 9-year-old girl to a hospital to have a RAPE kit done? Raise your hand. One? Anybody else? Imagine as a man having to do that. It affected me real bad. To the point, I don't let my daughter do sleepovers. I've had family and friends like, Khalid, you too protective. Yep. Remember I told you I've been working with DCFS for 26 years. Can you imagine the horror stories I've heard that girls had to deal with? You can't. And I won't even describe it. If those babies wasn't in here, I'll have a real talk with you. But they're here. So maybe that was God or something, I don't know. But our girls are vulnerable. I had a discussion with my daughter a couple of weeks ago. I got kind of mad at her. I told her, a friend was telling me, Khalid, there's an app on Apple called 360 Life. And I said, okay, what are you telling me that about? Well, Khalid, I know how protective you are of Anaya. And I'm like, because I was telling her how Anaya and her friends go off campus at their high school. So she said, Khalid, I got an app for my kid. So she told me about the app. I looked at it, and it was phenomenal. So I told my daughter, download it immediately. Daddy, my daughter is 16 going on 17. Daddy, why are you tracking me? I'm sorry, let me stand behind here. Why am I tracking you? Anaya, every day I turn on the news, and you all know I'm telling the truth. Black girls are disappearing in this city. Girls are disappearing around this country. There's movies being made about trafficking now. So our girls are vulnerable. So for me, it makes my job as a social worker even more important. And just like you said, sir, when you're a male staff person, the girls see you in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they don't have a dad in the home or a positive male figure consistently around them. Okay? Now, let me come and bring it down a little bit close to the subject at hand. one of the questions, I guess, and it's the person who submitted the question, are they here? They're not here. Okay, it was something to the effect of, what if a female client comes to you and says, I'm being hurt? Mom and Dad, are you sure you want them in the room?
Oh, you know what that?
Okay. I don't know. I just want to be, you know.
You do?
Yeah. Sorry, Dad. Alrighty. Just want to be mindful. Well, one of the questions was, what if a young lady brings that to your attention? You know, what should we do? Okay. Now, before I get into the part where I give you kind of like step-by-step instructions, let me have a couple of volunteers. What do you think you would do if a 12-year-old is saying that my uncle, my mother's brother, he's 22 years old, he lives in a house, he's in between jobs, in between places to live, he has been touching me. I want a couple of people to tell me, what do you think you would do?
Call my sister-in-law.
Call your sister-in-law.
She works for DCFS.
Got you. Okay, I was like, okay. Okay, got you. Thank you for clearing that up. What else? You know what, guys, I like participatory, because I'll pick on you.
I'm over there.
Right.
I'm over there, I'll go for house.
Okay, there you go.
When you work with children, isn't there something called like an informed reporter or something like that? There's a number that you can call when things like that happen.
Absolutely.
You have a responsibility, and if they find out you had that information and you didn't go forward with that information, I don't know about being held responsible, but you will be questioned about what information you knew about what was told to you and what you didn't report and why.
Right, it's called a mandated reporter. So social workers are mandated reporters. Police officers are mandated reporters. Educational staff, nurses, doctors, everybody should be a mandated reporter if you know that somebody is being hurt. At this table, what do you think you do if a girl came to you and said, I'm 12 years old and my 22-year-old uncle is touching me inappropriately? What would you do?
Not release her back to their parents until I get authority to make that determination.
Okay.
I am not qualified to make that determination. I don't know what her status is at her home. I can't just blindly send her off. I have to protect her interests until someone in authority can make that decision.
Okay. Danielle?
I've been in a situation, and I've had to call the hotline as a mandated reporter. And so the child, she was 10, and she was not released back to her family, not to her immediate family. She could stay with another relative or somebody like that, and then they had to take her to the hospital and have a kit done and go in the house and see how many other kids live there and see what who this person was, why they were there, and it was a whole process that they go through. But for myself, what was most important to me is that they checked her out to make sure that she was okay and that she knew that she didn't have to go back there.
Correct. What else? Yes, sir.
So the question is, are you asking if such a thing happens in Girls for Science?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this thing would be, first response would be letting Ms. Lomax know that I heard something like that from one of our students.
Okay.
And then let her know, and then get her advice and whether to report, how to report authorities, whoever needs to. Because right now I don't have the information, but all I can do is reach out to her and then go from there.
Correct, correct. I forgot your table over here. I know y'all thought I did, but what would you do?
Well, I like to go the same route. I call Jackie first and be like, this is something going on and I don't know, like, should I call the parent or where should we go from there? I call for advice.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't know what to handle for that.
Okay.
I treat the girls like my nieces, so yeah.
I got you. Understand that when a child comes and is brave enough to let you know, it is your responsibility to get on top of it. But you know what? For that 10 seconds, you're scared. Anybody who has done this, you're scared for that 10 seconds because you're like, this is about to open up a Pandora's box that I may not be familiar with. I remember the first time as a social worker, I had to make a hotline call. And I was like, man, and the family was like, everybody been in and out of jail. So I'm like, they gonna take me out. So what? I gotta make sure I'm a social worker to make sure, going back to 1991 at that juvenile court building, that I help and protect children, okay? So, you gotta get over that 10 seconds. Because you gotta say to yourself, how many of you all are parents? Because wouldn't you want somebody to respond if it was your kid? Okay? You want somebody to help your kid. I just said something a couple of seconds ago. I said, if that kid is brave enough to tell you, that means it's something about you that made them feel comfortable. Okay? Because they could have went and told somebody else, or better yet, they could have not told you at all and held on to that secret. And just to be honest, we know the culture, that we have in this world, that we blame the victims. We have an R&B artist being accused and everybody is on this, no he didn't. And my daughter goes to the high school where this person is allegedly doing this. And I asked my daughter, I said, Anaya, what if this R&B superstar came to your school? What would you and your friends do? Daddy, I got this. We know better. I said, you really, Anaya? Really? I said, Anaya, how many of your friends have daddy issues? How many of your friends you think may have self-esteem issues? How many of your friends don't think they're pretty enough? How many of your friends want boy attention? And she was like, all of us. So I said, predators know that. They know it. Us parents get fooled. I'm thinking, my daughter is pretty. She got me. She's smart. But a predator does what, folks? They study their prey. They study them. So, my daughter has acne right now. So she don't think she is pretty no more. So the only thing that predator has to do is, God, you're the most prettiest thing I ever saw. You mean I look pretty with this acne on my face? Now you all are probably like, Khaled, y'all don't think I'm serious? I work with them, folks. I work with predators. The goal is to get the victim. Is to get the prey, no matter what. And so now you're working with children, little girls, and this wonderful program that's supposed to help boost their ego and get them interested in the sciences. You know what I'm saying? But then, my daughter is an egghead, but guess what? It's the reverse thing. Daddy, I'm smart, but I'm not one of the popular girls. I'm not the prettiest girl at Kenwood. Boys don't like me and my friends because we're nerds. Right? So then it's the opposite. Then they got to like, Anaya, you are pretty. Summer is gorgeous. Layla is beautiful. All of you all are wonderful girls. Wonderful girls. But I'm daddy. I'm biased. Let Tyrico Dontrell come around. It's a little different. It's a little different. We got to pay attention to girls. Girls tell on themselves. Now, I'm sorry. I'm in a room where it's women. Tell me the characteristics of being a girl. Because I might not know. Tell me. And when you're, I'm sorry. Tell me the characteristics of girls when you're 15 years old. Let me make it a little bit challenging for you. And Jackie, please let me know how much time I got.
Bullying
Bullying? What do you mean? Who's bullying now?
the girls.
Why?
It can be privilege from education. It can be lifestyle.
Mhm.
I have to say I was bullied in high school.
Wow.
I was what you consider a nerd.
Yes.
I was bullied just as a victim.
Yes.
A victim to other people's image of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It could have taken my life.
Yes.
It could have taken my life.
Yes.
They were pretty violent.
Right.
But, you know, things toned down, but I didn't have a defense mechanism. I didn't know how to survive. I was stuck in a neighborhood school. You got to get up and you got to go.
Yes.
So my defense was just socialize with clubs. So I just stayed after school,
Mm-hmm.
almost up until 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And that is basically what just engaged me, and it did reverse.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Tell me about 15-year-olds.
I was just gonna say confused. Like you just have like all these emotions in your head, and then you have like people at school. You have, you know, do I like boys? Should I date them? Like, should I listen to my parents? I can't really do too much outside of what they don't really do, but you know, you're just confused. Like it's just so many emotions.
Yes.
Emotional, I guess.
Yes. 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 Number one word. What else?
Girls are pleasers.
Tell me what that means.
Girls will go out of their way to please their parents, please the adults in their life that they admire, and each other.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's, you know, to get status or to become popular, they might jump on the same bandwagon. And if
Mm-hmm.
they're picking on somebody that seems defenseless or not as popular or not as pretty, then they'll jump on that bandwagon and start, you know, making fun of them and, you know, doing things that they probably normally wouldn't do just to be part of the group.
Got you. Absolutely. What else? 15-year-old girls and what they go through. You two back there, because we have a stereotype that teenage white girls got the perfect life and don't have what black girls have. Describe teenage white girls' lives at 15 years old. Break the stereotype.
I probably can't. I mean, I was not in the popular crowd, but I had a good close group of friends, and we just kind of stuck to ourselves.
Okay?
So I didn't have any real problems.
None at all. No
Like,
boy
I would say
problems.
some of the girls in the popular group were mean. Like
Gotcha.
they weren't friendly or anything. There were some that were nicer, but they weren't gonna like go out of their way to